stories frighten you? Well, if they do, you better click off this video and never return. But if you enjoy scary stories, then you're in for a real treat, because this tale is truly terrifying. So turn off the lights and wrap yourself up tight, for you're about to hear the legend of Minecraft Alex and Steve and the WELLWISHER.
That was a good one, Steve.
Okay, I got another one.
Our story begins one fateful Halloween night, with Alex and Steve sitting by the campfire, telling each other scary stories. Let's listen in, shall we?
And the last thing the boy heard after he turned out the lights was drip, drip, drip.
Oh my gosh, that was so scary.
You tell one now, Alex. Come on.
Okay. I know a really good one that Uncle Tom told me. It's really more of a legend. Have you ever heard the story of the WELLWISHER?
Oh yeah, I heard that's a good one. Tell it.
The legend begins with the story of a girl named Sara. She was a Farlander, which means she came from a strange land that was very far away. In Sara's village, she had no one to play with. There were no other kids that were her age, and she was very sad. So one day, Sara just packed up all her things and left. She set off looking for a new home that had lots of other kids that she could play with. But Sara got lost, and she wandered the desert for many years. Until one day, to Sara's surprise, she found the end of the desert and the little mill house, so she wandered up to the door to see if anyone was home. To Sara's dismay, she found no one home, but she was very tired and very much alone, so she decided to wait to see if anyone would return. Eventually, the villager that owned the mill returned home to find Sara asleep on his doorstep. The miller called to Sara. When Sara awoke, she was surprised to see the miller there, and when the miller said, which meant there were no villages for miles around with little kids in them, Sara was sad once again because she still hadn't found what she was looking for, even after all of this time. The miller had told Sara that she could stay with him until she decided to set off again, but Sara was unsure. She didn't know what to do. She really wanted to find some friends. So Sara decided that day that she would stay with the miller because being around someone was better than wandering around all alone. Sara was given one job to help earn her keep. The nearest water well was a long walk into the forest, and the miller was too old to make the journey. Sara happily volunteered to make the trip, and the miller saw her off every day. And every day when Sara reached the well, she would fill her bucket and look deep into the water and make a wish that one day she would find a new friend. One day, Sara accidentally spilled the entire bucket of water on her way back from the well, so that night the miller had no water to make his soup. Sara felt so bad that she insisted on going back to the well to get another bucket. The miller tried to stop her, but she left anyway. The miller really wanted to go after Sara, but everyone knows that villagers never go out at night. He stayed up all night waiting for her to return, but she never did. The miller made the journey the next day to the well to look for Sara. And while he was there, he looked deep into the waters of the well, as Sara always did, and he made many wishes. He wished he would never have let Sara go out that night, or that he would be brave enough to have gone after her. He also wished for his friend's safe return. The miller spent many years wandering the forest in search of his friend, but Sara would never be found.
So what happened to Sara, Alex?
That's just it, Steve. Nobody knows. Some say Sara just went back home. Others say the Googlies got her. Then some say Sara leaned a little too far in the well that night while making her wish, and that she haunts the forest surrounding the well to this very day, and they call her the Well-Wisher.
Whoa, Alex, did you hear that?
Yeah, Steve, I did. What was that?
Alex, that story was pretty scary. I think I peed a little. Can we go home?
Sure, Steve. Oh my goodness. Come on, let's go.
What Steve and Alex didn't know was the path that they chose to take home that night would take them right past Sarah's well.
Come on, Steve. Last one home gets eaten by the zombies.
I'm coming, Alex. Whoa! Oh man, she's gonna beat me again. Whoa, what was that? Alex? Hey, Alex, is that you?
I beat you. Steve? Hey, Steve! Where'd you go?
When Alex saw that Steve wasn't behind her, she did what any good friend would do. She went back into the forest to look for Steve. Our story continues that dark, fateful Halloween night when Alex returned to the woods to find her friend Steve. What will happen to poor little Alex? All alone at the same well little Sara disappeared at so long ago.
Steve!
Well,
Steve, where are
we're
you?
about to find
You
out.
better not be playing around, because it's not funny. Steve! Huh? Steve? Is that you?
Let's not get too hasty now. Let's not forget about our friend Steve, for he too heard something in the woods that night. Something that drew him deeper and deeper
Alex?
into the woods.
Is that you? Alex!
Help me!
Alex, I'm coming! Oh my goodness. Who are you?
It's okay. Come closer.
What did you do with Alex?
Do not worry. I won't hurt you.
Listen, you, whatever you are, Alex is my friend, and I want her back. Give her back now.
You have it all wrong. I'm not going to hurt you, and I will help you if you help me. My name is Sara, and I too have lost my friend. And I've been lost in the woods for so long, I just want to go home.
Wow. Tell me what happened.
So Sara told Steve her long and sad story. She told him about the night she went to the well and how she never made it. Instead, she got lost in the dark woods. When she returned to the miller's house, he was long gone. He had abandoned his mill to go and look for Sara. All Sara ever wanted was a friend, and with the miller, she had that. But now, it was too late. Sara tried to find him in the woods, but when despair and loneliness took over, Sara was ready to give in. Until an unlikely creature appeared and changed her destiny. The tricky witch fooled Sara by offering a potion of supposed protection. Instead, he gave her poison that doomed her to walk the earth, half alive and half dead for the rest of her days.
The witch's poison has trapped me in this hideous form, and the only way to break the spell is to make things right. The miller was my friend. He went looking for me, and now his soul is trapped wandering the woods. I must find him. Steve, will you help me?
Of course I will, Sara, but let's find Alex first. She'll know what to do.
Ah, yes. I can see it in your face. You're finally starting to understand, aren't you? For the same friend that Sara had been looking for was exactly who Alex encountered behind the well. The miller was no longer the man that Sara once knew. He was now a ghost, consumed with his own guilt and sadness that he had not been brave enough to save his friend. He had tried to be brave, but he looked so long and so hard for Sara and never found her, that when the day came for him once again to stand up and be brave, he gave in to his own fears and in sadness, and he failed once again.
Mr. Miller, if I might just say, I understand why you're sad. It must be very hard to lose a friend, but I don't think you should be so hard on yourself. I mean, it was very brave of you to wander these woods for so long by yourself looking for Sara. I mean, wow, no other villager has ever wandered the woods like that. That's amazing. And you know, at this point, Sara's been gone a very long time, and I'm not telling you you should give up, but I think you would be a much happier man, I mean spirit, ghost, if you just went back home, and maybe Sara one day will come back there and find you. I'll tell you what, I'll go with you. My friend Steve is around here somewhere. We got separated on the way home, and I have to find him, so maybe we can look on the way. What do you say? Alrighty then, let's go. Huh? Oh my gosh, don't come any closer.
No, wait.
Alex, no!
Who are you? Steve, who is that?
Alex, it's the Well-Wisher from your story. No, I mean, her real name is Sara, and she needs our help.
Oh, my friend, I finally found you. It's me, Sara.
Huh? Oh my.
The spell is finally broken. Alex and Steve, thank you for your help. But
Sure.
please,
Oh, yeah.
remember, don't wander in the woods at night.
Oh yeah, totally done with the woods.
Yeah, I'm with Steve on that one.
Miller, can we go home now?
Huh?
Hey Steve,
Yeah, Alex?
can we go home now?
Yeah, definitely. But no more racing, okay?
Yeah, no more racing.
You wanna hold hands?
Steve, I don't think that's necessary. Let's
Joking, come on.
Aw, don't you just love squishy, happy, gushy endings? I do. So, did you like our little story? Would you like to hear another? What to tell you next? Perhaps the story of the legendary creature known as the Sham. A monster who gobbles up villagers while they sleep. Well, I guess we'll see. Until then, turn out the lights and wrap yourself up tight, and don't forget to subscribe.